Now the next thing to do is modify skin tone and eye color to your liking. There's a couple things to note about default Femshep. Unlike a Femshep or any shepherd that you create in the character creator, you can't add eyebrows like separately, and you can't add makeup. But to change the skin tone and eye color, you right click on the shepherd, Morph, and you open package editor. Here you will see a few different files that look scary. There's Pro Shepherd's face diff. This is, for some reason, silver lately when I do it, but it doesn't come like that. It doesn't show up like that in the game, so you can just ignore that. So I'm just going to show you a quick example of my own custom Shepherd's texture files for their face, just to show you the difference. So right here is the diff file. This is kind of the color, not the skin color necessarily, but just like if there's freckles, you can see there's freckles here. I gave her a mole here and over here. So that will be there. The eyebrow color is going to be there. Any kind of lip texture, some under eye bags. Here's a different version where it's got kind of a pink flush versus the norm file. This is kind of the texture, give some shadows and make it more 3D. So again, example, like you can see here that the mole, I made it so it pops out a little bit. So it will look like it's sticking out a little bit. And this is a scar. So again, all the scars that come in the vanilla game are just norm files because there's not, unless like it's a fresh scar, you wouldn't really need to add any color to it. The lip texture and the eyebrow texture too, so not the color, but like, the lines. And like I put a little butt chin there. So you can see kind of the difference, hopefully, between what these different files do. What you're going to want to do, assuming you want to replace the default complexion, is replace this one with a different diff file, stands for diffuse, and this one with a different norm file, stands for normal. The scalp files, you can change if you want. It often depends on how different the face files are and also like what hair you're using. Because there will be a seam sometimes, but if you have hair for your shepherd that covers around the ears, and you're not going to see it. So the first order of business really is to replace the face files. So it's kind of a little bit complicated how to do this. Not complicated, but a little bit cumbersome. In my experience, I don't know if anyone has the same issues I have. Say I want to use this complexion mod I have. So first we're going to have to take it apart pretty much and get the files that are inside it. So when you go into extract mods, you find whatever mod you're looking for. You say open. It will ask you where you want to extract it, like which folder into. I usually just click the same one, select it. It should work fine, like that. Now if you go into that area, you will see here that they were extracted, the diff file and the norm file. You can also see that it's for the freck complexion, the freckled. So what you want to do next is go into Textures Manager in the Mass Effect Modder, and you want to find where Femshep's face textures are. So let me just, it's under the same thing, the same file as in Mesh Explorer, which is the HMF head promorph. So you scroll down to the bottom, it's right here, Pro Shepherd Face Diff Stack. This is the diff one. So you can right click on that, replace texture, and you can click Custom Freck, and it should replace the texture fine. All right, and now you want to immediately extract it, in which case you can make a new folder like and then you want to do the same thing with this file. You want to replace it with the norm file, wait until it replaces. And again, this seems kind of complicated, but it's not. It's just kind of cumbersome. And it's not necessarily even that required if, like sometimes it's, I don't need to do this, and sometimes I do, so usually I just do it out of ease. All right, so I extracted that too. So you're all set with that. You can exit out of that. So now when you go back to the package editor, it should allow you to replace these files without complaining because it will have the same name and it will have come from the same place. So you can do import from file. When it says this, for Mass Effect 2 and 3, you want to create a new TFC. For the first game, you want to do package stored for whatever reason. I don't understand things, so I just do what works. So now you want to import. You've done that for that one. Now you do it like this. Again, package stored. Click on the norm, and voila. Again, it's yellow, so you want to save it. That still won't change the skin color and eye color. So the places where you need to change that, you need to go to the materials. So in this case, you want to go for skin color, you want to go to Pro Shepherd Face. And right here you have vector, scalar, and texture. Texture is what we've just done, so you don't need to touch that. Vector is color. So if you go to item 1, you'll see skin tone, and you go to parameter value, and you'll see red, green, blue. Modifying these will change Shepherd's color. Unfortunately, you can't just copy over whatever the numbers are from Save Editor because these are a much smaller value, but you can still use Save Editor values to get a similar color. I can explain that in depth in another time. And for eye color, you want to go to Eye Pro Shepherd right here. And again, go to Vector. You'll see eye white color and eye iris color. So you want to go into iris color, parameter value, and again, red, green, blue. These are Femshep's default green eyes, but we can pretend that you did that and save it again and exit out. So you can save that. Hair color will be addressed when we do the hair replacements and stuff, because that's in a different file. So you want to quit out of Meshplorer. Open it again. You can find your most recent file here. Make sure that it has refreshed and that the complexion is showing up. You're probably going to have to quit in and out of the game a few times in order to get all the colors right you want. But, you know, even right now you have the right complexion, so you're just going to want to extract the mesh to a UDK. Say tutorial lady, new complexion. So next order of business is to modify the correct files so that this head will actually show up in the game. And I do have a list of the files that you need to replace, but you can always also find them through Asset Database. So you can go into whatever game that you're intending to modify, look up Pro Shepherd, and pretty much right here you can see all the files in which Femshep's head shows up. And some of these files you need to change, some of them don't, like Lav. I don't know really what file it is. I haven't been told that that matters if you change it. You can change it. It doesn't really hurt anything. But the files you do need to change are going to be the following. So we're going to want to find those. So again, you're going to look in the game files. I'm going to find female player C, this one. And you can find Shepherd's head in this. This is the main one it's going to pull the head from. You can see the complexion is there, but the facial structure is still default. So all you have to do is you have to the latest head morph, and there you go. You want to save it. The next file that's important, we want to go to entry menu, which is less important, but that's just the character creator. So again, find Pro Shepherd, and again, replace it with your desired head morph. And you can save it. And the other ones are going to be we are Caden and Ashley's romance scenes. So if you are romancing none of them, you don't have to mess with those files. And if you're romancing only one of them, you only have to edit the one that you are romancing. But you, of course, again, you can edit them all if you want. Same with the consort. I don't know for sure. I think that is the sex scene with the consort. And if you don't get that, or you don't really care if your shepherd shows up correctly in that, you don't have to edit that either. I usually edit everything just because I want to like cover all my bases, even if the bases aren't going to be relevant, but that's just me overcomplicating things. So now, if you start the game, you should be able to see your shepherd. All right, so you can see here that this has worked. She's popped up. This is obviously not default Femshep's head. Also, Femshep's hair almost always clips unless you really modify your new morph, head morph, in which case, like, why not just do different hair? But you can if you want, if you like the hair. And you can see here there's a bit of a seam. And that's something that if you want to fix that, that's possible. I didn't change the eye color or skin color, so it's the same as default Femshep right now. I'll make another tutorial and or stream covering how to change the hair and also going more into depth about changing the eye and skin color and hair color.